what's more challenging for you? Delivering subtle emotion in a quiet scene or sustaining
Mm.
high energy during action and dramatic scenes?
Ooh, great question.
Thank you.
I think, ooh, the first one probably, because being subtle is, it's so much harder. In my opinion, I'm an emotional individual, and I like playing characters that display a lot of emotion. I did a villain role, probably my favorite villain role to date, and it was in a mafia project, and luckily my character had all of these tattoos on him, and it was more of a, when I read the script, it was more of a soft and menacing character than it was. You know, some villains are just, they're angry, they yell, they
Yeah.
point. That's easy. That's very
Mm.
easy for me to do at least. The maintaining a soft, menacing approach, whether you're snarling, whether you're growling, whether you use your eyes and you just sort of flick them at someone like that and you just glare a little bit, or a little bit of a sneer, or whatever it is. It's not that it's harder to do. It's just that it's more fun.
Yeah.
I'd say I probably find both of them equally as challenging, depending on how well the character is written. It might even be as easy as
Mm.
another time. But for me, it's not that I found this character Lucas difficult to do. He would just read as a different kind of villain to any other villain that I'd read for, and that was so much more fun.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up watching a lot of James Bond films, and I think my favorite villain was portrayed by the late Christopher Lee in The Man with the Golden Gun. He wasn't this. He was a calm villain,
Mm.
and it was one of those things where my character just wanted to watch the world burn. He just thrived in chaos. It's not like he was angry at everybody. He saw the
Mm.
world differently, and his emotional state came from his facial expressions, whether it was the sneering, you know, the top lip curling up, or whether it was his eyes getting wider, whether it was the a big sort of um, you know, malicious grin on his face. Um, but when I played that character, I just felt the room was mine.
Yeah.
I've never felt that I had a room as well as I did when I was playing that character.
Mm.
And the director and script supervisor told me about it at the end of the coverage on me. They pulled me into Video Village and just said that was amazing. And
Mm.
that was at the time that was the best praise I'd had
Yeah.
until that character then came out, and I had fans messaging me saying, "I've never wanted a character to die so much."
Mm. Yeah.
They loved the character so much they wanted him. They loved him so much they hated him, and that was the
Yeah.
best praise I got. Whether it was
Yeah.
from being a lead, being a villain, that was the best praise I'd had, and it was because of all those different subtleties that I was finally able to do as a villain. So
Yeah.
to sort of round up the question, neither is more challenging, but I would say the subtlety is more fun because you
Yeah.
don't get as much
Definitely.
of a chance, especially in the vertical world where things are a bit more over the top. You don't
Mm.
get as much of a chance to do the subtlety. So
I always walk away from a villain. If I hate them, then they've done a fantastic job. That's just the way I see it.
yeah,
So,
yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't agree more.
yeah. Okay. If you could star in a vertical that you would class as your perfect storyline, what would it be?
I was asked this question a few months ago, and
Oh,
I still don't have a good answer. Because I feel like I naturally gravitate towards uh sort of the mafia genre. I feel like the best character development, whether you're good, bad, whatever, the best character development is through those. The billionaire and the family, there's sort of always going to be that story of rich brooding man, and then there's a contract involved. So normally, for the
Yeah.
mafia, there's so many different layers that you can add to it. Um, it's difficult because there's so many of them have been done already that I don't know if there's one specific role that would be perfect. If I could, I suppose if I was to create my own, it would blend in the action and suave, I suppose, nature of James Bond. There would be an air of danger akin to something similar to like Peaky Blinders or something like a Gangs of New York style thing where it's just a bit darker and a bit messier. Um, and I mean, I said earlier, I would love to do something fantasy wise. I know that different
Mm.
platforms have started doing the fantasy stuff, just as a way of expanding the repertoire. I don't
Mm.
know if there's any one perfect thing because I love the Bond films, I love the Star Wars films. They're two very different things, two very different genres, and for me to pick one over the other, it would be doing a disservice to the one that I didn't choose.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Fair.
that's a horrifically diplomatic answer that I just gave you. Um,
I get it though. I get it.
but yeah, I don't feel like there's any one thing that I would sort of want to say I this if I didn't do this, it would break my career.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be a disservice to any other genre that I enjoy versus what I get the best out of character wise.
Yeah. That's fair.
So,
That's fair. All right. How do you stay authentic and present on set with all the distractions like camera crew and time pressure?
um, I go in as long as I know what I'm doing, as long as I know what my job is, I get to enjoy watching everyone else do their work.
Yeah.
I said the sponge element. I get to
Yeah.
enjoy at the beginning of the day. I show up knowing at least what in my mind's eye I want to do. Whether or not the director gives me different notes, maybe my maybe I'm the only member of a scene of six other actors. I see the scene this way, and then the other five see it in a different way.
Mm.
Then you adapt, but as long as you go into day one knowing what your character's start, middle, and end entails, I go in each day at least knowing what my goal is for each individual scene.
Yeah.
I feel like I've become numb at this point to the noise of moving, lighting, any stands that get moved around. Um, whether I'm learning my lines or just chit chatting with whoever whilst my mic's being readjusted because I'm now wearing a tie versus the scene before I wasn't wearing a tie. You just become desensitized to it. Um, and that's one of the, I mean, I'm in a very fortuitous position that I've been on enough sets where, whether it's been vertical, whether it's been, horizontal, whatever, you embrace everything that's there, and um, I become fascinated with watching people breaking stuff down. At the end of the day, these are all very talented people who've all been to school to do crew work or directing, the acting side of things, hair and makeup. They're always doing this, that, the other while I'm trying to study my lines. It's more that I have an appreciation because they don't stare at me whilst they're doing their work. If someone's moving a C stand over somewhere or they're fixing a light, um, or whatever it is, they're not staring at me wondering, I wonder what it's like for Robert to be doing all of this now. They don't care. They're there to do their job. I'm there to do my job. And if you allow yourself to get distracted with everything else, you're not going to be able to show up and be present to do your own job, unless you're
Yeah.
lucky enough that you have an eidetic memory, which I don't. I wish I
Yeah.
did. It would make my life so much easier.
No,
Um,
I think we all wish we had that.
it would be game changing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just I stay focused on what I'm doing. At the end of the day, I'm being paid to do a job, and if I was to be distracted by everything else, you run the risk of also not being called back
Yes.
because you then you are not prepared for what you're supposed to be doing, and there's a lot of money on the line at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Okay.
that's the best I can give you.
Yep, no, that's fine. Okay. What do you think makes a scene unforgettable?
Ooh, when an actor commits, it like you fully commit. If
Yeah.
you Some actors I've been on sets with, and they didn't want to fully yell. If it was an
Yeah.
argument between different people, they didn't want to yell because they didn't want to seem like they were being ridiculous. I'm like that. This is what your character's
Doing.
situation
Yeah.
is. The last project that I was on, um, myself and two, it was like a dysfunctional family relationship, and it was my younger brother and our sister. We were all the two of them were yelling at one another. I was there throughout, just watching their sort of relationship break down. And this scene, it reached sort of this real tipping point where the two of them were yelling, and I then have to. My character was supposed to stay stoic the entire project from start to
Mm.
finish, and then the director then gave me the uh, he gave me the pointer of just to try it. I want you to cry,
Mm.
and the crying bit added an extra dimension of, oh, this brother actually really does have a human element to him.
Yeah.
Just because he's strong and stoic doesn't mean he can't give this full element. And me doing the crying, I forget whether or not the guy playing my brother was told about that's what I was going to do, but it caught him off guard because now all of a sudden my eyes are puffy and I'm just sort of letting everything go. I'm not trying to contain
Yeah.
anything, and my cheeks are getting red. And then when I finally turn to my sister, she's then crying as well.
Mm.
And it just takes this performance of, instead of again just people, it's easy to yell at somebody,
Yeah.
but if you take the human element into the character and you give something for the audiences to be able to relate to, that's going to really evoke emotion from screen to soul.
Yeah.
That's how I know I've done my job.
Yeah.
um when I was abroad in a project that's not been released, we had a 2.5 to 3 minute long scene where it was myself and the lead, the lead girl, her and I were the leads. And our scene started off with a bit of physicality, just sort of her struggling. She was drunk and belligerent, and I had to sort of try and calm her down. Then she slapped me, and then there was a romantic element to it because why not? And then there
Yeah.
was an argument, and then my character had to sort of recenter himself because I hadn't seen something from her perspective.
Mm.
And then we're both crying, and there's subtlety and emotion. And I came out of that scene drained. I had to go and sit in a corner for
Mm.
a moment. Her and I were both, there were tears pouring down. Um, our hair was just a mess because it was just the scene, the room. You just get uh, so hot in the room that everything just sort of it heats up, and your hair gets messy, and you get blotchy and sweaty and whatever. But the two of us gave everything to that performance, and it yeah, I came out of it feeling that I had really done my character justice, and I'm hoping that's how it comes out when the project is released. But yeah, if I'm watching a performance, if I go to the movies and I start crying because someone's monologue is making me like choke up, I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you. I,
Yeah.
I'm I'm nothing but appreciative of it.
I cried at my first theatre performance last time I
Yeah,
went just because it was just so wow that I cried.
yeah.
So I was just like,
If you give me a beautiful performance and I can leave thinking I've learned something there,
yeah.
that's what makes me appreciate art more than I otherwise would do if I was just to see two people being angry and yelling at each other and someone leaves and they slam the door.
Mm,
Give me a reason why and show me the human element to it, and that's gonna make me remember your performance.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could go back and play one of your characters for 24 hours for fun, who would it be?
My first lead, Howard Baker, Forbidden Love. Um, First of all, he's he's probably the biggest green flag character I've played to date. I had a very unfair start with my vertical experience just because my first lead was him.
Mm,
Um, so he set a very unfair benchmark for what I expect or want my characters to be.
yeah.
And he's successful in business. He's successful with the respect in his family. He gets the girl. He has the money. He drives the nice car, and he's just a good person. He's a character in a vertical where nothing about him is a head scratch. You're not looking at him going, "Something's up with you." I'm reading a thing. He wants to protect his lady. He wants her to succeed in her own career. He's not going to push her to do anything. He's not going to force her to do anything. Um, he apologizes when he messes up, and he doesn't try and pin it on anybody else. He's the most human and organic character that I've played. So I would definitely say him.
How do you make similar roles feel unique?
Hmm. I
Mm,
think it comes down to, at least in my experience, how good the script is. If you give me a little
yeah.
bit of each time I do, like for example, every time I've played, I've worked with my friend wonderful Jackson Tiller. I've worked with him a few different times as his assistant, best friend kind of guy.
Yeah.
And the first time the character he was a bit more of a pushover kind of character.
Mhm.
The next time was a similar thing, but I wanted to add a bit more authority in that because now I know how Jackson works now with that second project. So I thought, I'm gonna add a little bit more confidence to my character as well as to me. And then the last time I played his right hand man, I thought just gonna be I'm gonna carry myself differently. It's not gonna be that my delivery is going to be more confident. I'm also going to stand more confidently. Um,
Mm,
and then with certain leads, I like to try and find characters that I've not done before I start
mm,
repeating roles. So for me, in a way, this question is a little bit more difficult for me to answer with the leading roles and the villains because I've played some villains who are very cowardly. I played villains who, akin to my character Lucas in the Mafia Project. He was just an outright he thrived in chaos.
mm,
He's a one of a kind that I've played to this date. Um, I've played some anti-heroes, which I love playing, and I'm getting a strew of auditions for that now. Where you show the love for the female character, but then at the same time you have this other element to your family lifestyle, and I want to be able to complete. I don't want to get pigeonholed as being good at doing one thing too early. I know I said earlier that I've done 17 or 18 roles, whatever it is. I'm still trying to find roles that give me something different than what I've already done.
mm.
And the roles are out there. And I try and bring a little bit of something different to my auditions. And then subsequently when I'm on set, I carry myself differently. Or if I'm playing this good guy, I project more. For this good guy, I'm gonna keep it a bit more quiet, a bit quieter. But just try and find different things that keep me different that are going to allow different people to see a different range. So that way, it always helps me to try and find some sort of enjoyment with the next new role, because then I can find another new element to bring in, as well as introducing different elements from my other roles as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything you want anybody to know about you or your work?
That I love it.
Yeah.
um, I want people to know that my passion for this industry has never wavered once. Um, that you give me the opportunity to be any kind of role, whether it's the lead, whether it's the villain. Um, I'm going to give you 100%, and I want to try and leave audiences with, whether it's a comedy, whether it's uh, romance, whether it's action, whether it's horror. I want to leave you with wanting more from me, but not from the project. I want you to be able to leave that project after watching it and think, what else has he done? What has he done that I've missed? Um, and to this day, I'm still finding people who are doing that. Like they see me with one project, and then they go and research and like, oh, I didn't realize you did this as well. You did this over a year ago. How did I miss this? I'm like, I don't know, but enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, as long as I keep people coming back for more, I know that I've done my job. So at the end of the day, I can't do my job without the viewership. If people if people have that desire to watch more of my stuff, it means that I'm doing my job well. And that's what I care about. I love doing this job because I want to try and find some way of making people happy, or at least feel something. Obviously, when I play a villain,
Mm.
I don't want you to be happy watching my performance. Please don't, please don't. Um, but if I'm doing a villain, I want you to hate me. I
Mm.
want you to really hate my character. If I'm playing a good guy, I want you to know that I'm trying to be as authentic as I can be to the material. Whether he's a green flag character, whether he's a yellow or orange flag character, I'm going to give everything. I'm going to give you my all. Sometimes that will happen. Sometimes it won't happen. But hopefully, I have more wins than I have losses.
Okay, I have two more questions.
Let's
What's
do
your
it.
funniest moment on set?
Funniest one. I've said this before. It was my first time being a villain with Jackson, which is a very strange thing for he and I, because we're not used to playing
Mm.
those roles. But he was doing a scene with the lead. I have to run in, because the lead is who I was in a relationship with. And when I make my entrance, he's on the ground. And to try and as a way of paying my character some respect and just saying hello to me and acknowledging me, he stands up to say my character's name. And there's a blooper reel where Jackson stands up, and I don't know how he did it, but he got up and he groaned the entire time. And I could
Mm.
see the girl giggling on the floor. I started to giggle, which then made all the crew, like the first AD was then giggling, and the
Yeah.
script he was giggling, and I'm just looking at Jackson trying to make eye contact, and neither of us break. I think the coverage was on him, and the
Yeah.
director just said, "Cut, Jackson. What on earth was that?" And to this day, it makes me giggle just knowing it, because I was there and I witnessed how it actually happened. It was brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's funny. Okay, last question. What does a good day on set look like for you?
And not too early call time, but at the same time, good enough. You hit. So here in LA, we have traffic all over the place. A good day starts with you get up, you get your alarm, and you can have a nice breakfast. I can have a cup of. I drink a lot of coffee, so I have a good amount of coffee. Then I get in the car, no traffic. You show up to set, there's already coffee there. There's some, crafty's really on point. You get through hair and makeup with no problems. Wardrobe comes out nice and crisp, and um, there's in between the scenes and whatever, no one forgets lines. It's just nice and seamless, and we're just laughing and giggling between it all. We're serious when we have to be, and we wrap on time, and then I can get home. No traffic getting home. and I can, I'm brushing my, take a shower, brush my teeth, and think, yeah, that was the day.
Yeah.
That to me is a great day, and it's made even better when I'm working with people that I already know that I work well with.
Yeah.
I've been ridiculously lucky thus far to date to have worked with some fantastic talent
Mm.
across the board. And if I know that the crew is, I'm familiar with the crew and how they work. If it's people that I've acted with before, or people that I'm first time with, but I know that they come with a very good, um, a good good reputation. That's what makes me have a smile when I leave my house at the beginning of the day. That's what I love.
Makes you excited to go back the next day.
100%. Or even just
Mm.
for the next project, because I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I really hope that I have that again
Mm.
and again and again. And I've been very lucky to this date that everyone I've worked with, thank you to all of you who have all been fantastic.
Mm. That's really good. That's really
Yeah,
good. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with me today.
it's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day. Obviously, you have a busier life than I do.
I
You have
don't think
kids.
that's true, but this month I
That's
do.
good. Yeah, you're a family lady. I don't have a family, but yeah, I'm very very glad that we got to do it.
Me
Um,
too.
and yeah, hopefully I get to see you and speak to you before next Verticon.
Yeah,
But
hopefully.
yeah, yeah, thank you very much. Enjoy your day. I know
Thank you, you
yours is
too.
pretty much just beginning, but yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Take care.